Do you want to know how to teach a child to focus in the classroom? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting, good communication, and how to build strong family bonds, as well as education, through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about improving that classroom behavior. In this video, we're going to be talking about losing focus in the classroom and what might cause that. And then we're also going to be talking about things that you can do to increase the focus while the child is in the classroom. So what causes a child to lose focus in the classroom? Lots of times it's boredom. I know that when I was young, I wasn't challenged a lot in the classroom. And so I would start just doing my own thing. I would stop listening to what's going on. I would stop focusing on the assignment because it just seemed like it wasn't challenging me. And I know that can be a struggle because some students are challenged by the simplest things and other students really require a lot more rigorous work to challenge them. So that can be difficult when you have a class that has a variety of educational and intellectual levels and abilities in it. So I know that's hard, but that could be a situation that's happening that could lead to a lack of focus. It could also be that there's some things going on in their home life or personal life that might be leading to a lack of focus, and those might be things that we never really find out about. There could be stresses. There could be bullying that's happening in school, maybe out on the playground or in the halls, and so the child is concerned about social situations. They could be contemplating some of the other things of life that seem interesting to them. Sometimes they're just bored and they don't feel like they have a connection with whatever the material is. Now, one thing that you need to understand is that if your student is ever going to really feel a good connection to whatever it is that you're delivering to them, as far as the topic, it usually is going to require a relationship to really hit home. So we always learn things that we have a relationship with. So this could mean for some people a hands-on relationship. For others, it could mean a different kind of connection, personal connection. As the teacher, when you're presenting the information to the children, it's a good idea to really try to connect with each of the children while you're delivering the information. And this makes it so the information sticks, seems more relevant and important to the child at the time. And this can help with focus. Another thing that I recognized in my years of doing education was that some people just need to have their hands busy. So this is why note-taking can be really helpful. I noticed that with young children, you can teach them to take notes. They can write one word or two words. They can do little drawings, stick drawings of things. I remember reading children the story of the Alamo, say for instance, and while I'm reading the story of the Alamo, they're drawing pictures of the characters in the Alamo. There's Daniel Boone and, all the different characters. And I mean, it was a graphic scene, right? Because it's war and people are getting shot and stuff like that. But they loved having their pictures there. And then we took those little pictures, because we'd make little pictures of all the things that we studied, and we would put them together in a timeline fashion in a special notebook that was just for them so that they could keep all of these little pictures, which were basically their notes. Now, that's if they're young. I know that sometimes older students have no problem taking some, notes that include words, right? But keeping your hands busy can be something that's really useful. In fact, sometimes it's easier to focus on a story or a topic being discussed when you're in the middle of doing some sort of mindless, coloring project or writing project or something like that. So keep that in mind, that could absolutely help. But there's something even better that I'd like to give you now. If you've already subscribed to this channel, then you probably already know that I have multiple videos on here about teaching self-government in the classroom, about different ways to use self-government in education, whether it's home education or education at the school. And the self-government skills and principles are broadly applicable. They can be used for all people, and this includes in the classroom as well. So in the Teaching Self-Government program, there are 4 basic skills that we teach to the children. These are the children's books here. They teach following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. Now, all of these skills have a skill set attached to them, which means they're steps that you go through. When a person learns all 4 of these skill sets, that takes care of 99% of their behavioral problems. Even sometimes the most difficult youth, the ones that might even be non-neurotypical, they experience drastic change when they learn these 4 basic skills. So teaching the children those 4 basic skills goes a long way, especially because basically when you are saying no to distractions, you are giving yourself a no answer. And then when you're choosing to focus, you're actually instructing yourself. So that's 2 of those 4 basic skills, following instructions and accepting no answers. So if you can teach them those skills and teach them how they apply to them using them with themselves, that actually really goes a long way. Now, I do have a pilot program for schools that you can use in the classroom, which is actually something that you can contact teachingselfgovernment.com for, and we can make that available to you to use in your classroom, which helps teach some of these skills as well as some of the other things I'm going to be talking about. So there are 5 different parenting styles, but those 5 parenting styles are basically teaching styles to use for behavior to help people prepare for behavioral success. One of those teaching styles I'd like to focus on right now is pre-teaching. So there's 3 different ways to do pre-teaching. Pre-teaching is essentially when you prepare someone ahead of time for something that is coming up. So let's say that you want a person to focus, then maybe what you're going to do is you are going to have a pre-teaching interaction with them about why they think they don't focus, and then what they think they could do to maintain better focus. So you would have something called a parent counseling session with them, well, or in this case, it would be a student-teacher counseling session. And then you would discuss together what they think the problem is, why they seem to be struggling with focus, what types of thoughts they're experiencing, or if there's anything that you can do to solve some of the problem for them. And then you're going to make a plan for how they can focus better. So maybe they make a plan for giving themselves an instruction, or maybe there's a positive motivation system that they set up for focusing. Then at the moment when it's time to focus in, you are going to use a pre-teach for your classroom. So the entire classroom can have the same pre-teach at the same time. You can say to your classroom, okay, class, right now, I'm going to do a pre-teach. The pre-teach is I am giving instruction that for 5 minutes you need to focus on this timed math test. I want you to look at the page and think about the problems, and as soon as you're done with one, move your eyes onto the next one. Let's practice moving our eyes along the page. All right. So I know that we can do this. I want you to stay in your seats the whole time, whatever it is you can tell them, and then say, if you choose to stay focused this whole time, then here's going to be the positive. If we choose to not stay focused the whole time, then this will be the negative. I'm sure you have positive and negative consequence system of some sort in your classroom, right? So you can use that and use some sort of motivations for the students. So then you say, here's your instruction, because you already taught them how to follow instructions, hopefully, prior to this, right? So then you say, here's your instruction. I need you to start your timed math test right now. And then you start your time and they hopefully stay focused in. Now, if they don't take it personally, don't get frustrated about it, but you may want to figure out some sort of a code word or a hand signal that you can use to get somebody's attention to remind them to focus. So maybe you point to your eyes and say, gotta focus, right? But you don't have to micromanage everybody. Some people struggle and they don't get into their focus until their prefrontal cortex is a little bit more developed. And so sometimes they struggle a little bit along the way, but you telling them to look at the paper doesn't mean that they'll actually think about whatever it is. When a person is not focusing, it's because they're not engaging their brain. It's not because they're not engaging their eyes. They're just not wanting to think about it. It's a lot of hard work to think about things. And that might be something that you need to also explain to your students, that one of the hardest things that we ever do is think. That is hard stuff. And sometimes we have to tell ourselves, okay, we just need to think for this much time, then we can take a break, because it really is that hard. But we need to get in the habit of doing it, otherwise we'll avoid it. And if we don't do our own thinking, then someone will start thinking for us. Now, no one wants other people to think for them. So it is wise to give the children proper warning that if they don't think for themselves, you'll probably have to start telling them what to do next. If you have a particular child that struggles with focus, then you might want to make a specific plan with them so that they know how to keep their brain engaged. They might have something that they tell themselves, like, think about it. Or maybe, what is this saying? Like, asking themselves questions could help keep them engaged in whatever it is that they're supposed to be spending their time and their attention on. Another thing that you can do to make sure that your students stay focused is when you give them an instruction, ask for someone to repeat back the steps to the instruction so that you know that they know exactly what to do. But that's not all. They know that they know exactly what to do too. If you've enjoyed this video, I'm quite sure that you are going to enjoy the 3-part series about teaching self-government in the classroom. So go ahead and click on the first part to that 3-part series now.